Moving on, let's talk about Jaylan Ford, linebacker out of Texas. RAS score of 8.21. Not insanely testy, but here's what I'll say. And I put him on this list, right? Because I did want to highlight a linebacker because I do think that this linebacker class is deeper than people think. And I think Jaylan Ford kind of gets buried beneath those other linebackers. Look, he's experienced. He really improved his run game, especially like this past year. Was very productive there. Really good in pursuit. He's got good speed. He's all right in coverage. He's had like 1,000 coverage snaps his entire career, right? He's experienced there. So, I mean, look, when you're looking for a linebacker, sometimes it's not always your most explosive linebackers, right? Sometimes it's not always your most productive, which Jaylan Ford was a pretty productive linebacker at Texas. But sometimes it's just experience. It's speed to the football, it's instincts, and I think he has all of that. I really do. I think he can solve. I think he can carve out a solid role. I believe Cowboys pretty adamant about interviewing Jaylan Ford because Lord knows that they need a linebacker. Well, Lord knows that they need a lot of things, but I think that would be a really good fit for Jaylan Ford. But what are your thoughts on Jaylan Ford?
Yeah, like you said, just highly productive guy, veteran who got better over his year. To me, I'm gonna bet on that. And yes, maybe the elite end, athleticism might not be there, but also his broad jump was pretty darn good to me. And I love that explosiveness to have that quick, especially trying to cover these just elite, freaky tight ends that are now all over the NFL. And then also your shuttle time, two scores that were really, really good for him. And you talk about like his hips to be able to move around in zone coverage or to be able to trail a tight end or whatever he has to do within that. So yeah, Jaylan Ford, I, I liked it. I was not thinking about this, but you put him on there, and I was not going to complain at all. He's got the size that is big enough for you at 240. Plays with plenty of play strength. Yeah, I like it, and especially you mentioned against the run, getting better at like that's important, especially trying to carve out a role in an NFL roster.
Yeah, and I think he's versatile too. Like he lined up on the defensive line and he rushed the passer sometimes and he was fine at that. Like he's not very bendy, but he's quick, like which is enough sometimes. Like obviously he's not as bendy as Michael Parsons, right? And Michael Parsons, like uh I would not profile these players similar in any way, right? But Jaylan Ford can rush the passer. He can be in coverage. He is a good run defender in the interior. Like he just is versatile. So like I feel like that there's a role for Jaylan Ford somewhere, you know. And I know he's going to be like late. Like he will be late. Like we're talking because linebacker already is a devalued position, uh, as we know it. And it feels like that there's so many other linebackers, stand-up linebackers that already have uh, a role, that already have or maybe are more proven or more athletic, higher profile guys. But I think Jaylan Ford is solid, man. I think he's solid. He's coming from an Aggie too. So uh, high praise for you, Jaylan Ford. High
That's how you
praise.
know. That's how you know. And yeah, a lot of these PFF has them, in their late two or in their early 200s, and that's especially for a linebacker like big board, you might be early 200s, but in terms of overall draft value, like you said, you're looking at end of sixth, seventh round pick for you. Got a question about special teams here, especially for a linebacker, day three linebacker carving out a role. You think he has what it takes to be a productive special teams player?
Yeah, I mean, experience is the big thing on special teams. Like if you're coachable, and I haven't heard anything negative about Jaylan Ford in with that regard. Um, I mean, when you're 6'3", 240 pounds, and you kind of got wheels, and you're really good in pursuit, and he's a good open field tackler, by the way. He's a good open field tackler. That can do you well on special teams. That can carve you out a role there. But here's a list of some linebackers that PFF has rated higher than Jaylan Ford: Steel Chambers, J.D. Bertrand, Michael Barrett. I mean, are those guys significantly better than Jaylan Ford? I don't think so. Sure, maybe there might be a tier when you get Cedric Gray, Tommy Eichenberg, Jeremiah Trotter, Junior Colson, Edge Cooper, Peyton Wilson, right? But I think he can find himself. I think he will get drafted. I think he will get drafted, which it might not happen. Like that there have been bigger surprises, and it might benefit Jaylan Ford to not get drafted. It has with some people in the past, so we can kind of pick where he goes, pick the situation that fits him best, and we'll see. But I think a team should take a shot on Jaylan Ford.